YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to talk about on why you need to be selective on the women that you're sleeping with. Man, right now more than ever, marriage is not what it used to be. Having kids isn't what it used to be. Back then, having kids was about leaving a legacy, about recreating, leaving, a fortune behind for your kids one day. Now, it's not even about that anymore. Now, quite frankly, a lot of these women are trapping men into having these kids so that way they can get financial incentive out of it. That way they can get gain out of you. I mean, look at the way everything's set up now. Is it really in favor of men? The way the courts are, the way the alimony's set up? My answer is clearly no, it's not. But you see, men are still getting trapped into this whole having kids, and I'm gonna start off by saying I have a kid, but I have a kid with the right woman. I have a kid that actually, I have a woman that I had a kid with, but she actually wants to raise a family together. She actually wants to take care of him. She wants me to do my job as a man and raise him, to be just like me. There's a difference. My woman's not out here leaving me. My woman didn't have a kid out here, just to, use it against me and all that shit. So you got to be careful. I know you have women with. I'm all for having kids, but for the right woman. The thing is, out here, a lot of you men are falling in the trap of having kids with hoes. Like they say, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. A lot of you men are doing that, and that's why y'all are getting finessed. Y'all are ignoring the red flags. She's got all these guy friends that she hangs out with every day, texts every day. She probably already had, a bunch of miscarriages that you don't even know about. And a lot of these women out here already have kids from previous men, and y'all are just gladly, not vetting them properly. I know everybody's situation is different. I actually know some homeboys, that they have good women. They have different circumstances. They have, they have kids from, other dudes, but they're good women. Their situation was messed up. It wasn't their fault. But for a lot of these women out here, it is their fault. They're choosing to leave the men, they're choosing to leave the baby daddy, to be specific, right? And then they want to go and put a bad, taste in all her homegirls' mouth and be like, yeah, he's narcissist, he manipulated me, he was controlling me because he wasn't letting me live my girl life and, do what I want to do. That's a trap too. They'll manipulate you into that stuff so that way they can do what they want. But the minute you try to hold any boundaries or accountability with them, they call you narcissist, and then they use that to leave you, and they use that as an excuse. Anything to play victim, right? So out here, it's a cold world out here. Y'all have to be careful, man. Especially when it comes to kids, like that's your legacy. You're gonna be a grandfather one day. Like, you gotta be careful. You're gonna go out with just any woman. You're gonna, not pull out just to any girl that gives you attention. You're gonna knock her up. Is that somebody you want to reproduce with? You gotta think about the kids, right? That's what y'all men don't understand too. You gotta think about the kid. Do I really want my son to grow up with, and see his mom this way? Do I really want my kid to grow up and have this woman as a role model? If the answer is no, then you know your answer. You know that no, she's not the one. You know what I mean? A lot of these women out here are disrespectful. They act like men. Is that somebody that you want to lay up with and have a kid with? Like, your son's gonna grow up or your daughter's gonna grow up and think that's okay. He's gonna expect that from a woman. The way his mom is the way that he's gonna pick is the way he's most likely gonna, view women in the future. It's the same reason why a lot of women out here, a lot of them choose dudes that are like their dads. It's the same reason. But y'all are making the wrong decisions, and it's costing y'all everything. One wrong decision with the girl that you pick can cost you literally your whole life financially. Think about that. Think about how dangerous it's gotten in society. And I know a lot of Gen Z, man, I know a lot of men like, oh, I don't want no kids and all this way it's set up, but I'm really opposed to that too. You know, as a man, it's your job to reproduce, man. I don't know how a lot of you men cannot have kids either. I'm just trying to tell you to be careful with who you have kids with. You know, y'all keep going out with these women that really don't even give a fuck about you. You know, my last video was about the signs to watch out for, how to know if a girl's really into you or not. Y'all going out and spending all this money on these women that don't give a fuck about you. Then they trap you into having kids, and then they take your money. They really don't want to be with you. You see, it's all transactional now. That's what it's turned into. Having kids, marriage, and all that is just transactional now. Kids just add to it. They just get more money out of you because they get that child support every month. They get that alimony. They get to set the boundaries. They get that control of when you get to see the kids and when you don't. Of course, it's set up by the court, but it still favors the women. The women take advantage of how the court sets it up. Women's like, oh no, you don't get to see him till this day, or no, you're not gonna see him if this or this. It's all about control and power. And y'all men are getting sucked into it because a lot of these women, they know how to play the game. They know how to get you. And I know y'all are saying, well, my woman wasn't like that. When I met her, she wasn't like that. She just overnight, decided to leave me. And you're right. That is the chance that you do take. I'm not going to fucking lie to you. That is the gamble and the risk that you do take. Because there's a lot of instances where, at the time, that girl really wasn't showing any red flags. But remember too, girls can pretend. A lot of girls can pretend, especially when they can't control you. They'll pretend, to be innocent. They'll pretend like, they're not really about that. And then they finesse you after they pretend, after they get what they want out of you. That's when they finesse you. So you got to be careful too, because a lot of girls can pretend. But for the most part, a girl is going to show you the way their emotions and their feelings change from time to time. A girl's really going to show you who she really is within the first, month or even less than that. She's really going to show you who she really truly is. And that's why I also tell you, if you really are going to have kids with her or get married to her, minimum, like, man, I ain't going to lie. When I was with my woman, I didn't do nothing like that until after 5 years. That's how crazy I was. I was like, ain't no fucking way. I need to see consistency. I need to see anything before I even decide to, at least get engaged or whatever it is. But y'all motherfuckers in 6 months ready to put a ring on it. That's stupid as fuck. That's why y'all are getting finessed. 6 months isn't even a lot of time either. I really think y'all should bare minimum a year of vetting these girls. That girl needs to show you consistency for a year to really know if she's really, really about you or if she's just trying to get resources out of you. But anything under that, you're playing with fire. Her feelings are going to change all the time. So she needs to be tested. You need to see how she reacts when she gets mad. You need to see what she says. Because the truth comes out when a lot of these women get mad. These women get pissed off. The truth really comes out. And a lot of the times, a lot of y'all men ain't ready for the girls to really come out and say how they feel. That's when everything comes out. That's when everything comes out. They're gonna really tell you how they feel about you. So y'all vet properly, and y'all be more selective, man. I know it's hard out here. It's easy. It's hard to say that because a lot of these men ain't getting played. So it's like when that girl, she could be average. When she comes around and wants to entertain you, you end up simping for her and stuff. But brother, it's a numbers game. You got to run the numbers up. You got to remember that. There's so many other girls. If that girl's not showing you what you want, move on to the next one. Is that woman wife material? Could I have kids with this woman? No, move on to the next one. You know, it's just a numbers game at this point, but just be more selective. But I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.